Thank you everybody for joining this webinar today. I really hope you're all keeping well and safe during this time. So in today's webinar, we are going to be talking about e-learning, the benefits, the disadvantages of e-learning. And then we're going to dive a little bit into our social online clubs and what they entail. Okay, so our presenters for today's session is, my name is Samara Kluter, and I'm an academic expert at Ivy Academy. And then we're going to watch a little short clip from Tim Zunkel, and he runs the Radio Hour Social Club. And then Ryan Murgatroyd runs the DJ Music Club with Silk Andy. And then Constant Bested, he runs our Chess Social Club at Ivy Academy. Okay, so I want to just thank them as well for taking the time to send us these clips, and I really hope you guys enjoy the webinar. Just a quick overview, what are we going to be discussing in today's webinar? Okay, so firstly, we are going to be talking about online learning, the advantages and disadvantages. Then we're going to dive into social clubs, so that being the Radio Hour Club, DJ Club, Chess Club, Journalism Club. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about our next intake and what curriculums we are offering. And then you can find a slide on how to contact us, all the details there. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to pop it in the chat box, and then I will try my best to answer them at the end of the webinar. All right, let's get started. Okay, so what are the advantages of e-learning? Okay, so online learning helps students to retain up to 5 times more knowledge for every hour they spend learning at school. That is a huge difference. So according to stats, up to 80% of students claim that e-learning has helped them improve their grades. And number 2, another advantage is parents in particular have more control over their children's or their child's friendship groups. So this improves emotional stability and social influences. And number 3, less time investment is needed. You're saving time on running from class to class, getting ready for class, getting into traffic. You're saving a lot of time that could, you could rather spend that time wasted on learning online. Okay. And number 4, there's a minimal impact, from global crises around the world. So, I mean, up to 1.2 billion school-going learners in 186 countries were affected by the closing of schools during the COVID-19 pandemic. And these numbers continue to increase daily. So that is a very, very high number. So fortunately for e-learning, it doesn't have such a big impact on school-going learners. And number 5, it is the greener option. So a study made by Britain's Open University concluded that online courses produce 85% fewer CO2 emissions and reduce energy consumption by up to 90% compared to your traditional contact education. So in essence, more online material also means less printing. And lastly, you're saving on costs. So this, like I mentioned before, transport costs, uniforms, textbooks, and etc. As a lot of the online content or material, it can be found in the form of an ebook, etc. Okay, obviously there are disadvantages, and I want to thank you all for adding some questions when you registered for the webinar. They were very, very good questions, and let's run through a few of them. So a disadvantage could be that a lot of people think online learning can cause social isolation. But at Ivy Academy, we fill the gaps in many of these disadvantages. So online does not have to mean alone, and that is one thing that we strive for at Ivy Academy. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. So we ensure weekly interaction between students, teachers, academic consultants in the form of interactive live lessons, support sessions, and online social clubs. Another disadvantage that people talk about, it's the lack of quality assurance and accreditation in online curriculum providers. This is extremely important. You want to make sure that your child is attending accredited or registered education provider. So one thing that Ivy Academy we are very proud of is that we are actually a Cambridge associate. And we offer both the Cambridge curriculum from grade 7 to matric, as well as the South African CAPS curriculum for the FET phase. So we are also registered with Sakai. Okay, another disadvantage, only completing computer-based tests might be detrimental to a learner's writing skills. So yes, this is a very good point. So this is another where we fill the gaps. We have a combination of computer-based tests, which we use a gamification type of strategy, which is learning by using gaming methods. So apart from this, we also have weekly assignments that these assignments require longer based answers, and students are encouraged to write and submit like that. Okay, and some more. Okay, so e-learning requires strong time management skills and self-motivation. Yes, this is correct. So you want to make sure that you have, that the school you're sending your kids to can hold your child accountable. So we do also provide students with timetables and pace setters as a reference guide. Okay, another disadvantage going around is parents never know whether their child is coping or not. So yes, this is also extremely important, and this is where our AI model comes in. And our AI model generates progress reports. We send this out monthly, and apart from this, we have students, consultants checking up on whether the students are attending live classes, submitting their weekly assignments. This takes place on a weekly basis. And students can even book one-on-one extra classes with their teachers just to catch up on work or if they don't understand something. You can also find us on the Cambridge International site. You will find us there as one of the online associates. Let's talk about extracurricular skill-based clubs at Ivy. These are super exciting clubs, and we are very proud to be offering a music club. We call it the DJ Music Club, offered by Soul Candy. And then we have, for our media clubs, we have both a radio and a journalism club. And then we call it our online sports club, is in the form of chess. All right, so the Radio Hour Club with Tim Zunkel. Let's have a look at what the Radio Hour Club is all about.
Tim Zunkel. I know what you're thinking, who's uncle? But it's Tim Zunkel. And I work with Ivy Academy's cousin called Boston Media House at the Sandton branch. And I run the radio station there. So we're an online radio station, and it's a radio station for the students, by the students. And ultimately, that's what we want to do with the Ivy Academy Radio Club and the Ivy Academy Radio Hour. We want to create a radio platform and a radio station that's powered by Ivy Academy students, and that ultimately means you. We want to put you on the radio, and we want you to make and play the music that you are enthusiastic about. So you've got to ask yourself, is the radio club for you? And the answer is yes. And the reason it's for you is because radio is about a few basic things. It's about connecting, it's about sharing, it's about engaging, and it's about learning. And the ability to connect, as Samara said earlier, with students around you, especially in a time like this where a lot of what we're doing is virtual and online, is so key. The other thing that we know about you is that you create things. You're creating things every day. You're thinking about things, you're taking pictures, you're doing TikToks, you're having a look at stuff on Instagram, and you're all about sharing. And we want to teach you how to share better and how to take that content that you're already making and make it even better. The other thing that we know is that people like to talk to each other, and they like to engage with each other. They like to talk about things that they're passionate about. And we know that you're passionate about things in your life, and your friends are passionate about the same things. And we want to create a place where you can engage, and you can engage with each other. And lastly, we want you to learn something. You're at a point in your life where there's such a great opportunity to make decisions about potential things that you'd want to do one day, when you have to choose a career, potentially some hobbies, or just expand your learning and some of your thinking around some of the items that you maybe not ever thought about previously. If, like me, you're thinking radio club, I can't do radio. I was in a very similar space when I was exposed to radio for the first time, and I thought to myself, there's no ways I could ever be on the radio or work with radio people. And I think the reality is that you probably could. So is the Radio Club for you? It's definitely for you. If you're passionate about music, if you're passionate about socializing, if you're passionate about technology, talking and debating, expressing and listening to other people and sharing your ideas, then the Radio Club is definitely where you need to be. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we'll be doing. Music. So radio and music have a love affair, and we've always had the love affair. Most radio stations play a lot of music, and what you'll learn when you join the Radio Club and we expose you to the Ivy Academy Radio Hour is different music at different times of the day affects you in different ways. So if you're studying, you may choose to play something else in the background. When you're getting ready to go out or to go and socialize on the weekend with your friends, or you're having them around for a braai, music forms such a key part of what we're doing. Socializing is key in a radio environment because radio is your friend. Very often you can switch your radio on or your Bluetooth speaker and it's with you in the background. So while you're studying, while you're preparing to get ready for the day, while you're busy sorting out just your curricular stuff for the next day at school, you've got it on in your room and it's just chilling in the background. Radio is all about socializing and connecting people. The other thing that we know is technology is such an important part of what we do every day. If you're like me this morning, one of the first things that you did is you reached over and you switched off your cell phone because your alarm was there. You're having a look at what's going on in your timelines and your feeds. Radio teaches us about technology and the way that technology improves what it is that we're doing. Radio and technology are synonymous with each other, and the one relies on the other one through and through. So you'll be exposed to a variety of elements around technology, which is good. Talking and debating, if you're the kind of person who likes to talk about things that you're passionate about, and who likes to get other people's views and then talk to them or argue with them about that, radio is a great place to learn, to hone the skill, to become better at it. Radio will teach you to use less words, but to mean more when you are having a conversation or a debate. So we can definitely help you in that space. Radio is also about expressing and listening. So not only do you get to express how you feel and talk about the things that you want to talk about, but it's also about listening to what other people are saying so that you can add value to that conversation. So radio is going to help you doing that. And lastly, we can help you share ideas. And that's one of the big things. You're sitting on so many amazing and beautiful concepts in your head, and maybe you don't quite know how to express them, or you're busy writing them down, or you're making TikToks or Instas, and they're not getting as far as you think they can. We can help you develop that and move it into a different space. So what is it that you're going to learn with us over time? You're going to learn about the art and science of communication. Radio is all about reaching one single person in their home at any given time. Not only is radio about speaking or the ability to be able to speak, what we know and what we find with our students at Boston Media House and a variety of other radio stations, if you think about the radio station you listen to, or radio stations that you've seen in the last little while, you'll understand that it's also about what radio looks like. So a lot of radio takes place on YouTube and online these days via TikTok and Instagram, maybe even Twitter and Facebook. And what we also know is good radio people are good writers. Any idea needs to be able to express in a written form. And in the Radio Club, we'll teach you how to learn to write and communicate these things a little bit better. Radio is also a great place to build a little bit of self-confidence. And I understand completely that one doesn't always feel completely confident when you need to stand up and talk. The reality is we speak to people every day, whether it be in an online classroom, if we're at a shop requesting some help or assistance, or ordering something on the phone. One requires a little bit of confidence just to reach out and to speak to someone. And radio is a great place to build some self-confidence and to eventually become confident within yourself that you can go on the radio and that you can speak to people. And as we are becoming more and more accustomed to the online world, the idea of self-confidence and being able to express and communicate ourselves becomes such an important thing. So self-confidence is definitely something that radio has taught me, and it's definitely something I hope that you are going to learn when you join us in the Radio Club. The other thing that we can talk about is the technique of radio. So as with all things, whether you're on Twitter or Facebook or creating TV programs, there's a way in which things get put together. And there's a little bit of magic behind the scenes in radio to make sure that what the listener hears is absolutely beautiful and fantastic. And we're going to teach you how to put together a radio show, when to talk, when to play music, how to make the production sound good. Do we take news? What's the kind of stuff that we talk about? Why don't we talk about the Kardashians all the time? There's a radio technique, and we're going to share that with you. The other thing that you're going to learn is how to select music for a radio station. So your radio station can't play hip hop and classical music and pop music and rock music all at the same time. We need to identify target market, and there's ways and means about going about that as well. The other thing that we'll do is we'll expose ourselves to the music industry. How does it work? How do you become a recording artist? And what are the cool tips and tricks in the music business to try and get your song played on the radio? If you've ever listened to the radio, there's a thing called the jingle, or you'll hear sometimes pieces of music and little interludes between the songs and where the DJ is speaking. We call these things production elements. And what we're going to do is we're going to teach you to create radio production. Sometimes when you work at a radio station, you don't have to be the person on the radio to contribute to the on-air product. And production is one of the ways that you can contribute to the final product without ever having to put yourself on the radio. Another thing that we're going to do in the Radio Club is we're going to unearth your creativity. So I know you're sitting on ideas, and I know you're sitting on concepts, and you've got these amazing things that are looking for a place to be expressed. We've got the platform to express yourself, but we're going to teach you to unlock your creativity in the most amazing ways. And unlocking your creativity goes a long way in a variety of other places in your life, in expressing yourself and sharing with the world some of the amazing things that you're sitting on. So we're going to tell you and teach you how to be creative. We're also going to tell you how to tell your story. Everything that happens to you every single day in every environment is a story or an event happening to you. And we're going to teach you to retell those stories so that when you're on the radio or you're in a room with people that want to listen to you, you want to be the person that they want to listen to. And we're going to teach you a little bit about that. And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about preparation and research in this process of becoming a radio professional as we walk this journey with you at the Ivy Radio Academy and the Ivy Radio Hour. And we're going to teach you a little bit about the media landscape at the same time. You may ask yourself, are you going to be on the radio? And the short answer to that question is absolutely yes. One of the main reasons we've created the Ivy Academy Radio Hour and the Ivy Academy Radio Club is because we want you to be on the radio. We want to hear what you've got to say. We want to hear your music. We want to hear your stories, and we want to hear your ideas. We're going to do it in a variety of ways because we understand that you can't always get to our radio studio to come and broadcast. So we're going to do it via Zoom. We're going to do it via WhatsApp. We're going to do it via direct feeds. And we're going to see some of your other great content that you create over the weeks that we walk through the Ivy Academy Radio Hour and the Radio Academy. We're going to walk through these different processes of creating this content and establishing platforms for you to share that you can ultimately share it with your classmates, people at home, and people in your communities to show them that you are on the radio. So how do you go about joining the club? We're going to share that information with you. If you want to get hold of us, you're more than welcome to. The email address is tim@boston.co.za, and we can answer any more of your questions. Without further ado, I'd like to hand back to Samara, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the Radio Academy and in the Radio Club as we embark on the process of creating the Ivy Radio Hour, and we're looking forward to making radio with you.
Thank you so much, Tim Zunkel. Okay, so that was very informative. Okay, let's jump onto the DJ Club with Soul Candy, and this is presented by Ryan Murgatroyd.
Through some of the boring stuff, which is like academic outcomes of this course and what it does. What is IDMCP? It's a 16-week short course done in your spare time. It teaches the foundational principles of modern electronic music production. Okay, that's things like how to use synthesizers, effects, MIDI, sequences, and other tools to produce, record, compose, and arrange modern music styles like house, techno, EDM, trap, piano, down-tempo, ambient, drum and bass, almost any modern style of music. Yeah, my personal experience has been that there's a massive disconnect between students or kids that want to learn how to make music and all this really old school sound engineering sort of syllabuses that are out there that are more about recording other people's music and far less to do with actually composing and producing your own. Okay, so that's one of the focuses of this course, is actually empowering the learner to think and work like a true composer. Okay, what are you going to learn in this course? Well, as I've been saying, you're going to learn how to compose, record, edit, arrange, and produce, and even perform music live in Ableton. Okay, everything from DJing out as a DJ to recording artists, recording vocals, using synthesizers, writing drums, writing beats, writing riffs. And then, of course, just playing with fun tools that make music. So that's what we do on this course. It's focused around Ableton, which is I believe, the world leader, the world standard in modern production. And not only that, but I'll discuss a little bit more, and I'll put some uploads up. There's also a lot of opportunities to get the Ableton software at an amazing price as part of this course, and be someone who owns that software forever. At some level, like photography, you've got to commit to learning the skill set around electronic music, and that requires learning one particular program. Most people in photography learn Photoshop. The world standard for this field is Ableton, and that's why we teach it. Another thing that I think makes this course very unique compared to what's out there right now is the focus on melodics and harmonics. What does that mean? It means that we teach you how to basically compose without having to learn the technical, classical understandings of a piano player. So we basically take all the good stuff about music theory, condense it into a super, super modern and relevant syllabus, and take away all the sort of old 200-year-old classical theory from Beethoven, and really turn our learners into songwriters. That's a big focus for us. I think that's a big missing part of other production courses, is that you end up being overly technical and underly musical, and that's something that we wanted to address with this course. So yeah, getting into the outcomes. I mean, a lot of these are just repetitions because I'm saying the same thing over and over. If you're interested in making your own music, whether you want to, for example, you get people called beat makers in the industry. Those are people who make beats for hip hop artists and make the backing tracks for pop artists to sing over. Or if you want to be someone like Avicii, who makes their own music under their own name, or someone like Black Coffee, or someone like Euphonic, or any one of those people, either local or international, the sort of common underlying thread is that these people are making and releasing their own music. Okay, that means producing, recording, etc. It also means mastering, mixing, and getting that music out onto platforms like Spotify and iTunes, etc., etc. Okay, so this course will cover all of the skills required to do all of those things. And then I've just gone down into some of the music theory things. I think in my experience of teaching courses like this over the last 20 years, the biggest barrier to entry is usually related to music theory, because these programs rely on a certain degree of understanding of these music theory principles. So often that can be very intimidating, and often what happens is people who've played the piano have a massive advantage. So we like to even the playing field and really make harmonics and melodics and all the music theory stuff fun and democratically accessible to all of the students. That's a big thing. Okay. Yeah, and then why this course? Obviously, if you go onto any online learning platform, there are a multitude of ways to learn electronic music production. Yeah, why is this amazing? Well, firstly, Ableton's amazing. As someone who's used all of the different software available in the whole world, Ableton has a very unique approach to composition. It's called nonlinear composition. It's a little bit beyond the scope of this talk to get into what exactly that means, but basically it enables you to make music very quickly, very effectively, without spending any money. That's really the nutshell. Okay, I've just said here that, you know, obviously I developed this course as someone who has been making electronic music for 20 years, and that's why there is this focus on, you know, cutting the fat, so to speak, and removing anything that's not absolutely essential. There's so much fat in other courses that I've done. Unnecessary theory, unnecessary processes, making students learn things so that we can test it in exams for the sake of it. I don't believe in any of that stuff. This is about skills development, and it's about measuring those skills regularly and making sure that people are competent
All right, awesome. So that was just a quick clip by Ryan. This course, the pricing for this course, so for those of you who are international joining us today, please feel free to email me at the end of the webinar and I can convert the currency for you. But in South African rands, so there's 3 courses. There's the music production fundamentals and theory for electronic artists. So you can either do a once-off payment of 7,500 Rand or installments, 3 installments of 2,500 Rand per month. And remember, it's a 3-month course. Then there's the music business course, which is 2,000 Rand once off, and the DJ 101, 2,500 once off. All right, let's talk about the chess club with Constant Bester.
We determine our inner rankings. So there will be bi-weekly tournaments that our members will take part in, and from these tournaments we can see who's our top player and who's the second best and the third best and so forth. And from here it will also be a good place to see your progress, because these logs will stay on here, so you can see, but 2 weeks ago I placed third and this week I placed second. So that's a way that you can see your growth. What you can also do is you can click on your profile, and this will be one of the tools that we use to monitor your progress and your growth on chess, with chess. For example, if I just go back here and I click on someone's profile, I can see the games that they played, how many losses and wins they had. I can, for example, I can go to the bullets, the type of chess games that we can play. I can see about their rankings, the same with Blitz and Rapid and so forth. So I can go to my profile as well and show you how that will look like. So I click here, you'll see, okay, but this is my ranking, how that grew. I had 1 bullet game, 1 Blitz game, 1 classical game. You can see my ranking, you can see my victories and my defeats. I can go to that game and I can analyze that game, and this is also stuff that we're going to use. I can see against who I played and their rankings, when I played, and then this will be used to analyze. So in our theory lessons, we can take, or even in our practical lessons, we can take one of these matches, we can analyze this match to see about where was the mistake made, what happened in the game. So we can analyze the entire game piece by piece to determine how we can improve our games and grow in our chess. So that's only a few of the tools that we're going to use. Again, also very important to note that the tools on the ivonline.education, a website that we use to monitor, is also going to take place, because we can see who's taking part in the live classes. That is mandatory for both days. All of the presentations that we record on the theory lessons, as well as the practical lessons, will be here for you to watch at a later stage. The PDF documents of the presentations will be here for you to look at, as well as with each theory lesson there will also be a short quiz after the lesson which you can take part in, and that quiz will also determine but how is your knowledge growing in the game of chess. So now I'm quickly just going to show you the benefits of registering not only with the Ivy Academy Chess Club but the optional Tshwane Chess and Chess SA. So why should you register? So you need to register for Chess SA and Tshwane Chess in order to receive a Chess SA number, which will be used for all future tournaments and rating purposes. This isn't for our internal tournaments, but this is for all tournaments hosted by Tshwane Chess and Chess SA and FIDE. We'll talk about a bit more about FIDE a bit later. So it is essential to be affiliated to a club should you wish to represent Gauteng North Chess in any tournament.
Okay, so that was just a quick short clip by Constant Bested. And then we do have the journalism club that will only be opening end of the year or next year. So if you have anyone interested in becoming a future journalist or just learning the ins and outs about journalism, how to do research, etc., be a great club. So if you are also interested in that, then I will definitely let you know when our next webinar is and send you more info on that. Okay, so as you know, we are also, we offer the Cambridge curriculum from grades 7 to grades 13. Our next intake for the Cambridge lower secondary grades 7 to 9 is 20th of September this year. And for grades 10 and 11, which is called the Cambridge IGCSE, is also the 20th of September. For those interested in AS and A levels, that will be opening in January 2022. Sorry, there's a typo there. So it's January 2022. And just a quick touch for the Cambridge Lower Secondary and Cambridge IGCSE, you're looking at 9,000 Rand per subject per year. If you want more info on fees, I'm going to be sending each of you an email with the fees, etc., involved in all the courses, including the clubs. And then you'll have my email address as well. So here's some contact information. So you can also visit our website on www.ivyonline.education. You can send us an email at info@ivyacademy.co.za